Nothing. Fucking hell, I did it again. Nothing like a cup of tea to heal your voice. Oh god, I nearly choked then. Ugh. Make the tea may clear your voice bit. Tries to kill you. Yeah, I don't know what to add to that. I was going to say something, but then I lost my train of thought. And I'm not muted. Let's begin. What could we possibly continue after that? That seemed like a... not a bad or... It seemed like we were on grey ground. The snap of my mobile phone's closing contrast with the ambient chatter and noise audible even in the hallway outside the library. It's the first day of the summer holidays. Oh god, Lily's gone. A time that had perpetually seemed so far away, and yet it's now not only here, but also made painfully obvious by the students, or lack therefore left in the school. Most students have returned home to spend the holidays with relatives by now. The few that have left are mostly chatting. That are left are mostly chatting between themselves, usually about what they intend to do in the coming weeks. It makes me feel like the odd one out for taking advantage of the school library being open for the first several days of the holidays. Oh my god, oh Sentible! I don't know how I'm going to start. It's for the students to drop off any books they've borrowed and have yet to return, and for those who will have their parents pick them up to help pass the time until they get whisked away. Thanks to the recent lengthy phone call from my parents, which had so rudely woken me from sleeping on... Shit, where's my phone? Oh well. On the beanbag at the back of the library, I'm now in the latter category. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, this time remembering to set it to silent, I go back into the quiet and wholly placid room. It's a nostalgic sight. Shut up, Jay. Just as when Lily first led me to the library, the orange tint of sunset bathes the room in its light, with while Hanako sits on the beanbag, silently reading, and Yuko fusses, just barely visible behind the counter. I hurt my fist. Ow. Hanako especially has been noticeably more quiet than usual since yesterday's happenings, but I can't really blame her. It wasn't just me that depended on that person after all. Can't even say your name. Well, he did, really. I quietly walked back to the beanbag near her where I'd sat before, being doubly careful not to make any uneasy noises. Unnecessary. The soft puff it gives as the bag takes my weight makes Hanako's eyes flick towards me, but only for a second. I get the feeling that Hanako's been quiet only partly out of sadness following Lily's departure. Rather, she seems more thoughtful and measured than I'd expected, perhaps due to a desire of working out how to deal with Lily's leaving rather than just being depressed over it. It makes me a little proud of her. Hey, Hanako. Yeah? Still going ahead with your idea of travelling? She gives a determined nod. I'll be starting in a day or two. Naomi's decided to come with me too. Wow, quick start. Where are you to be headed first? I think we're going to start by going north, then loop down and go southward. So Hokkaido's going to be the first? She gives another nod, more tentative than the last. The significance of that place is not lost on either of us. Bow chicka bow wow. Do you know how you're going to handle the travelling expenses and accommodations? Yeah, I've worked everything out. I think it should be okay. Naomi says she has her side worked out too. You know that if you need anything, you can just call, right? I gave you my number before. Any time of the day is fine. She gives a smile, which in itself feels like a small personal victory. I know. Thanks, Hisao. Maybe Lily was right. Although I may offer Hanako any help I can possibly give, I feel as if I know she doesn't need it. She really has grown. Oh, for goodness sake! Hanako's plans for her holidays are in sharp contrast to my simple following of my own parents' suggestions to stay with them. Holidays had always made me feel less excited than most, though, so maybe this is just a return to the status quo. Before my heart attack, I'd always lived so aimlessly that holidays weren't all that much different from my everyday life anyway. Hallelujah. After school, I'd wander around a bit in the city, after hanging out with some friends, before making my way home to eat dinner with usually one of my parents, but rarely both. Their work schedules didn't leave much time for them to be home when going there straight from school. My God. I should really have water with me. From school would just have meant... I butchered, but meant I'd end up feeling bored. I was I have no idea, through and through. Since coming to Yamaku, though, it feels like I fundamentally changed as a person. The phone call when my parents erased any traces of doubt I might have held on that. In any case, well, before I had exercised a fairly normal level of independence for a teenager, that being not a whole lot, my parents were more than pleased to hear my newfound ability in taking care of myself. Laundry, cooking for myself, cleaning, all in addition to other general chores that come from living without parents around. Just little menial things I've had to pick up, but with relative ease. Oh, God. When I think about it, I'd always depended on them, even if they hadn't been at home all the time. To say I never depended on anyone after moving to the Yamaku dormitories would be far from the truth, though. Thank God. Ooh, excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. The two of us look up at the awkwardly fidgeting figure in front of us. I hope we're not going to hear a bombshell. Some things never change. It's getting close to closing time, so, Oh, right, I'd forgotten that the library closes earlier during the holidays. Hanako and I both get up and dust ourselves off, placing our books back on the shelf behind us. The fact that our tastes in reading material have a fair amount of overlap is useful at times. With a bow to Yuko to apologize for taking so much time, Hanako takes her leave of us. See you tomorrow, Hisao. Bye. And with that, she walks out of the large wooden egging doors that herald the entrance to the library. She's a quiet person, isn't she? I suppose I should be surprised at a staff member sharing personal opinions like this, but after knowing Yuko for a while, it's largely expected. Our relationship is more personal rather than one with her acting as an authority figure. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confidence in herself these days, though. I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to do that before. Hey, Yuko. You know about Lily's leaving, right? She told me herself a few days ago. It must be hard leaving everyone behind like she is. She quickly looks back to me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lily and I before. Are you going to be okay? That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now, though given more pressing issues. Something seems kind of off about this whole deal, don't you think? Watson, I will give you a hug. If you... I don't know. But I thought it was off before you. That's why you're Watson. Yuko appears to think for a while, absent-mindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so. I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. Damn it! I'm sorry I can't be more help. Nah, that's fine. I'm just sort of thinking aloud. Damn you, Watson! I give a deep sigh and scratch my head in frustration. That's my job. Just there's so much stuff happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped. I think everyone goes through times like that. What's important is to concentrate on what you can do rather than what you can't do. At least that's how I see it. If you didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is. If I didn't think like that, rather. She says it with a smile and a light tone, but her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not only to live, but also for university, must be exhausting. God bless her. Perhaps that's why, coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than if it had come from most others. I guess you've got a point there. Thank you for your advice, once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again before making her way back to the counter where she spends so much of her time. God, I'm losing my breath here. The tiny wings... I'm still speaking while stretching. I should never do that. Oh, God, excuse me. The tiny wings of the cupboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of my room. Just a little of the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains around their edges. Oh God, I lie still in my dark bed for a long time, idly looking up at the little origami bird. You're the target! It feels like a lot's happened since Lilly folded this, but fucking hell. But at the same time, it feels like very little has changed. Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound... Oh my God, why am I yawning? I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed, I know that much. If anything, she just makes me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. Lilly, though. I turn the bird in my fingers another way, looking at it from yet another angle. Oh, are you trying to kill me? When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were always carefully measured and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave her the appearance of an erring confidence and sincerity. In time, she became less formal. Just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions. Oh, where have I heard that before? Around me, and opening even just a little of her own accord. I've heard that from Swoto. It felt as if I was seeing her real self slowly becoming more vibrant and visible. Now though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Good man! Perhaps they're to be expected after what is. Effectively, the two of us breaking up. Oh God, I shouldn't have poured so much in. They don't feel new or strange though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized after meeting Lilly that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone who needed help and care. At first, I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. Oh my God, I'm going to shoot you! But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more, from our quiet walks to our talking over lunch. The good sides of her personality became ever more obvious and ever more likable. The absence caused by Lilly's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distance family and sick aunt only made me realise how much I liked just being around her. And I had thought that she felt a similar way. For her, though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after... Oh God, I'm trying to say Evan here. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again after meeting them for such a brief time. They're the ones that abandoned her. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to be like that. Oh, for goodness. I had thought her sense of independence to be a good and admirable trait. It was Stark. Oh, God, rest in peace, man. You're not dead. Shunsui stabbed you in the hollow hole. Kubo, bring him back. Stark differences, even though there's 2 R's in that, but still, in his name. Differences to my realliance of my parents, yes, before my heart attack, has, as reluctant as I may have to admit it. However, bring Aranieru back, he doesn't deserve to die. It also meant that she never let people get too close to her. I never do that anyway. She lost her family likely due to her blindness. Went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now Akira's going to Inverness, just like the family she thought she'd lost. She never told me of her parents, as conflicted as she was about them. Lilly didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. I don't mean to sound horrible, but oh God, should I say it? I mean this. I don't mean this in a horrible way, but to me, Hisao is more of a burden to Lilly. I mean, I know that's horrible. I can see that, but I don't know. Lilly, the burden, no. I'm an idiot. Baka! Oh, for goodness sake! Is this my punishment? I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or asked when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever. Childish twit. With the 2 of us having a nice long relationship where we pushed forwards towards our future together. Oh God. A small pit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. Don't die! That would be a horrible and sadistic ending. I just let everything happen, never ever trying to help Lilly. But she never seemed like she needed help, you know? I mean, sure, she isolated herself, but just her being there was enough. I mean, not as much as Hanako, but you get where I'm coming from. I thought I could keep going on if that were true. But that could never have been enough. It was a childlike dependence on somebody without any attempt to understand or help their situation. And it's not that she gave off she gave off small vibes, but still. Thanks to that, I lost Lilly. I lost the one person I loved most because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. Oh, thank God for that. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turn it over and set the crane back on the desk to my clock. The place where it has lived since that day when she folded it for me. Hisao, if you do not go... Oh, wait, is she gone? She's gone. Now you're going to live with regret. Since that day when she herself said that my burdens needn't be my own. Oh my God! The obnoxious bright red numerals of my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock. Motherfucking Luxord. Evening. Curfew will be soon. Motherfucking Luxord. I wonder. Hello? Akira mentioned they'd be leaving this evening. Oh, wait, we didn't do a big time skip? I've no idea exactly when their flight is, but that means there's a chance, however small, that they might not have already left. Adrenaline starts to move through my body as I sit up on my bed, my eyes suddenly wide with possibility. Move, my son! There's no guarantee they haven't left. Indeed, it's likely that they already have, but there's also a chance they haven't, however small it might be. Charge! Just this once, just as I should have had before. I stand up and rush to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can and sliding them on in quick succession. Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain. A second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Oh God! Even if I fail, I have to try. I can't let her leave everything behind without even trying to stop her. Without just this once being there for her. Go, my son! With the last of my clothes slipped on, I hastily grab the phone off my desk. Luckily, the number for a local taxi company is still in my call history. Why do we care about that? Just go! A gruff of unenthusiastic voice announces the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice and keep it clear over the phone. Go! The chilling night air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door, but nevertheless, I keep up my brisk speed as I half jog, half run out the school gates. Don't die! It may not be curfew just yet, but it's precisely close. Precariously close. That's precarious. If there were a guard around, they no doubt have some questions for me, but it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive, or they're around the corner. Oh, why do we care about that crap? Just go! My pace picks up as I make my way through the school garden, their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run to the school gate. The lamps of the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance around them. Why do we care about the fucking building? Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me. Now they just look to be somewhat, I'm not going to say that word, school buildings. The same as any other bar their age. Others bar their age. I don't fucking know. Leaving the gates behind me, I pull up to stop just before the taxi. Parked just as Akira's car has been, its gaudy and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. I impatiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the driver the address for where the two should hopefully be staying. Victory! By the time the taxi pulls up after the trip and maddeningly casual speed, it's well and truly deep into the night. The house is truly enormous, its sheer size much larger than I'd expected, and ominously still, fearing the worst, I asked the driver to stay just in case my efforts are for naught. A single press on the fancy intercom system outside the gate produces a short electronic melody on the otherwise silent road. It is not long before a somewhat deep gruff voice can be heard from it. This is the Hakamichi residence. Please state your name and why you're bothering us this late. I press on, desperately inward, wincing at the reasonable annoyance audible in his voice. It's Hisao and Nikai. I was hoping to meet Lilly or Akira if they're still here. Surprisingly, I managed to summon quite some energy to my voice, enough to make the other side of the intercom silent. A few seconds pass, but just before I press the button again and ask what's going on, a light turns on outside the front door. I strain my eyes to try and make out who is coming through, but as he comes past the large parked car with fishing rods sticking out the back, his identity becomes clear. His face is typically placid and emotionless. Oh! I'm in there? When did this happen? As he saunters up to the gate. He's still childlike in his mannerism, despite his demeanour. Oh, is this Shizune's brother? Of the press of a few buttons, and behind the fence, the gate slowly opens. Hallelujah! Sir, what are you doing here? I think this is the most emotion I've ever heard from his voice. Not that it would be hard to reach that mark. Akira told me that she and Lilly would be staying here before they left for their flight. I need to talk to Lilly, just one last time. Are they still here? The look on his face says everything. I failed. I was too late. As 3 Days of Grace say, it's never too late. The one time when I actually needed to act quickly and... Actually, it's possible. What? What is? He's a bit taken aback by my fervour, but I can't help it at this point. They left not long ago, only a few minutes before you arrived, in fact. If you go straight to the airport, you might be able to... Hisao! I dart back towards the waiting taxi, grabbing what little money is left in my pocket as I go. The meter was still running! Thanks, Hideki. With that, I take a seat and in short order bark out my destination. Move, motherfucker! Why are we seeing people? My chest beats wildly as I tear down the street, my body twisting this way and that to slip between the pedestrians walking back and forth.